In the heart of ancient Cyprus, around 300 BC, lived a man named Zeno, a wealthy merchant with an empire built on trade. On one fateful journey from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his ship met the fury of the sea. In an instant, the ocean swallowed everything he owned, his cargo, his livelihood, his entire fortune. Gone. Now pause for a second. Imagine you were Zeno. Your life's work, your years of sacrifice, wiped out in a single moment you couldn't control. How would you react? Would you rage against the heavens, drown in sorrow, feel betrayed by the world? Zeno did none of that. Instead, he took that loss and turned it into the beginning of something timeless. That storm gave birth to Stoicism. Zeno began to study the teachings of Socrates and other great minds. He discovered a deeper truth, that while we may have little control over what happens to us, we hold immense power over how we respond. The essence of Stoicism is acceptance, indifference, not in the sense of apathy, but in choosing not to be a slave to emotions we can't control. One shift in mindset can change the course of a lifetime. What Zeno created wasn't just a philosophy, it was a way of life. Over centuries, this mindset would influence emperors, scholars, and everyday people alike. Because at its core, Stoicism is for everyone, from the powerful to the powerless. It's universal. The Stoics didn't sit behind closed doors in ivory towers. They spoke in the marketplaces, debated in public squares. They believed that wisdom shouldn't be hoarded, it should be shared. That's why you've heard names like Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled with strength and serenity, or Epictetus, a slave whose mind was freer than his body, or Seneca, the advisor to emperors, whose writings still guide us today. Stoicism taught them all the same thing. We don't get to choose the chaos that comes our way, but we do get to choose how we navigate it. Take this idea. We aren't sad simply because something bad happened. We're sad because we didn't expect it. Rain isn't bad. It nourishes the earth. But if you're caught without an umbrella, it suddenly feels like a curse. Why? Because it wasn't part of your plan. Stoicism teaches us to plan for misfortune, to greet adversity like an old friend. When you expect hardship, it loses its power. This is why Stoics practice voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, taking cold showers, eating plain meals, not to suffer, but to grow grateful, to build mental fortitude, to realize that survival isn't about comfort, it's about clarity. In today's world where we're sold endless desires, Stoicism is a shield. It reminds us, you are not your bank account, not your car, not your followers. You are your actions, your character, your peace. Seneca once said, learning to live with less makes room for what really matters. When you anchor your happiness in external things, you're always one accident away from losing it all. But when you root it in what you can control, your thoughts, your responses, your discipline, nothing can take it away. This is the dichotomy of control, the foundation of Stoic thought. As Epictetus wrote, the task in life is this, to distinguish what is in our power from what is not. Think about that. Imagine working hard for months and getting overlooked for a promotion. Most people would spiral into self-doubt. But a Stoic? They measure their success not by the outcome, but by the effort. Your value isn't in the result, it's in the discipline you brought to the process. Creating content is no different. You brainstorm, script, film, edit, thumbnail, upload, then wait. The algorithm decides the rest. But here's the Stoic truth. What happens after you upload? Out of your control. What happens before you upload? entirely up to you. That's where your focus should be. Stoicism isn't about emotionless living. It's about emotional mastery, about replacing reactive outbursts with thoughtful responses. There are four cardinal virtues in Stoicism: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom is understanding the world for what it is, not what you wish it to be. Courage is the ability to persevere, or as the Stoics said, persist and resist. Temperance is knowing enough is enough, and justice, the highest virtue, is treating others fairly, because we are all interconnected. Nelson Mandela, during his decades in prison, read Marcus Aurelius. When he emerged, he didn't seek revenge, he sought reconciliation. That's Stoicism in action. Today, Stoic ideas form the backbone of therapies like REBT and logotherapy. They help people dismantle toxic thoughts and discover purpose in pain. Because purpose, that's what gets us through. It's not easy, but it's simple. To build a better life, we don't need to control the world. We need to control our reactions to it. So when the storm hits and the ship sinks, don't curse the ocean. Become the calm in the chaos. Live